Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Rachel Stahlke. Welcome to the pod. Woo! I'm so excited because this is our third time trying to do this, and third time is a charm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like first time I didn't even fucking book it. Like, love that for me. Love that for me. I thought I was so prepared booking it like 3 weeks out. Absolutely not.
That's fine. It's cool. Second time, by the way, was my fault, but
No, it wasn't your fault. You're a mother. Yeah. You're a really good mother.
But we're here now.
And that's all that matters. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
I was just saying this is the one time that I feel like I actually don't need my notes because I'm so well versed. I just binged your TikTok for the entire 30-minute drive from Brooklyn to here.
That must have been rough.
Which, by the way, thank you for coming to the big city. Like, we're so brave for making this journey.
Yeah, we are. I mean, like I told you before, I went to the office first, so I feel like I did my thing, you know.
Scan in,
did my
out.
thing, like did what I had to do. I was here. Yeah.
Yeah, Rachel was here. I would be remiss if I did not start by sharing how we met.
It's actually it's the epitome of girlhood. It really is. By the way, before girlhood was like a trending thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
And speaking of trending, I can prove that you're a girl's girl. I can prove that you're a girl's girl before we even had the TikTok, before we even had iPhones, okay? Because I was thinking about this last night and I'm like, I actually think that when this happened, we only had BlackBerry. Like, I'm pretty sure this was still the days of BBM.
Yeah, either BlackBerry or like it actually could have been even further in like pink Motorola Razr. But like, yeah, with no social
chocolate
media besides Facebook. Yeah.
Yes. Which, okay. So that brings me to my point. So I knew Rachel in high school. We went to different high schools. We're Bergen County girls. Shout out 201 to our fellow 201 baddies. And I was actually in Italy on a trip with my dad and my sister.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I actually didn't know that, which is now that I do know that, like, that's horrific that I did that to you,
it was perfect though, because like my sister and my dad are the perfect people to be with because they're like angry, crazy people and they like just like hyped me up and like got me out of it. Anywho, so I'm on this vacation. I am dating it must have been my summer of freshman year because you're a year older than me, so you were a sophomore, and then the guy I was dating was a junior. Okay, so we were going to be going into my sophomore year and his senior year.
Yeah.
And I get a Facebook message.
Hey, girl.
You guys, Gen Z could never. Like, they don't understand like the lengths that it takes to communicate back in the day.
Also, when you would get Facebook messages from strangers back in the day, it would just go to your inbox. It wasn't like you had to look for it. Like, you got an alert that someone was trying to contact you.
You just got it. Yeah. Yes. So I get this message and it's like, hey, girly. And I don't know. And by the way, if we say any names, we can bleep them out.
Okay,
but like,
cool.
was it your Sweet 16 or was it someone else's Sweet 16?
No. So it was not a Sweet 16. It was a teen night. They like opened up, I forget where it was somewhere in Englewood.
It was like that. It was like 20, like it was like Club 201
like
or something.
A whole nothing, but like it was a teen night. Everybody in the area, like everyone in Bergen County was there. And I will have to say this too, by the way. You were someone in high school. We knew each other, but also I feel like everyone knew you. Like before influencers were a thing. Like, and I'm being dead ass right now. Like before influencers were a thing, people knew who Kelly Procida was. Oh, so like in my head, I knew what you looked like, and I was like, wait. So sorry, let me back up. At this teen night, I'm there, and I'm like, you know, on the dance floor, like grinding, honestly,
with like a water bottle of vodka,
with a water bottle. Yeah. No, not even like I didn't drink. I was just like a loser. But I remember sitting down and I was like, wait, I recognize that guy. And I was like, trying to put it together. And then I was like, wait, I think that's Kelly Procida's boyfriend. And then I was like, that's not Kelly Procida.
It definitely was not Kelly Procida.
It wasn't.
No, it was actually, we're going to bleep this out, but it was. Yes. It was. Who was actually like such a sweet girl, and I can't believe she did that to me. But like,
people change.
Mm-hmm. But so you Facebook messaged me and you're like, hey girly, like I was at like this like tea night last night, like such tea. And you're like, and like I'm pretty sure like I saw your boyfriend like grinding with this other girl, and like I just
hooking up. I saw them.
Yeah, they were hooking up.
I saw them use tongue, and
they
were
like, using tongue. And you were like, I just thought you should know, and like I hope you don't think this is weird, but like I just like needed to tell you. And I was like, what a girl's girl. Like, you had no reason to tell me.
Can I just say something, by the way? The term girl's girl, like, I know people use it. It's almost
like bothersome. Yeah.
It's a little bothersome because I feel like you're either just like a good normal human or you're not.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to be like a girl's girl. It's just like, would you want someone to tell you?
Right.
I would.
Like, do you have a moral compass? Yes or no?
That.
But so that's how we met.
Yeah.
And fast forward all these years later, because this is like over 10 years ago, you are a star. And you know how I feel about you because I send you voice notes all the time telling you, but I'm going to just go on a little like monologue about it. So,
okay, I'm probably going to make weird faces because I don't do well with compliments, but
no, it's okay. I cringe every time someone says something nice to me. I'm like, oh my God. Even though my whole thing is
say it again,
is never keep a nice thought to yourself. Yeah. So you catapulted like out of a rocket to this amazing TikTok success. Like you have 150,000 followers on TikTok. I was looking at one of your videos before. It has 25,000 saves. I didn't even know that I've never seen that number next to the saves. And you have a background in influencer marketing, like working on the back end of influencer marketing, which we will get to because I want to talk about it. I think it is like, it gives you this incredible wheelhouse. But like you are the quintessential example of someone who, when they say, like you see those, you know, like TikToks of someone saying like how to like actually build a community, how to actually build a following. They say a few things and some of them I think are accurate and some are not, but these are the ones that like really stand out to me, and you are these things personified, okay? Consistency. You have been so consistent. You make these incredible series that are so catchy. Like you are like a walking marketing machine. And I don't even think you realize it. You come up with these concepts and these like series, and then you're consistent with them. They resonate with everyone. They add value.
I literally feel like I'm at my like end of year review, and you're my boss giving me my.
You're fucking promoted.
Thank you.
You're fucking promoted.
Thank you.
They're so witty. They're so catchy, and they add value. So I really think the key things are consistency, value add, and relatability. Like everyone can relate to like this, you know, the group chat series, the 75 soft, the holy shit products, the everyday it girl guide. Like that is something that speaks to all of the girlies, and like you've cultivated this amazing community, and like you are the example of someone who has built a following based on those things. So I just want to like applaud you for that.
That's so nice of you. No, and I mean, obviously you know how I feel about you too. I will say this, and I don't know if you feel this way, but like I think there are times when like I look back on all these like random corporate jobs I had, right? And I realized like that they all kind of led me here, whether that was like my random major, like we were talking about, I had in college, like broadcast journalism. I actually hated being in front of the camera, but like look back now, okay, like I literally take videos of myself, put them on the internet.
Yep.
Influencer marketing. I was writing hooks for people, and I was writing like creative briefs. Now I just do that.
Your hooks are insane.
Myself. Thank you.
They're insane.
Thank you. Well, you have like literally 0.2 seconds to either, like someone makes a decision, like I'm going to continue watching this or I'm not. I think like what has been cool is, well, two things. One, like I think in terms of consistency, like you can do one of two things. TikTok is an open play space. Like you can literally be whoever, do whatever you want. But I do think that first of all, going viral is not like it's kind of the norm now. I feel like all of my friends, whether they post videos online or not, have gone viral like once.
Yeah. I struggle with that sometimes because like I'm not a consistent person, and I sometimes find it to be miraculous.
But you post a lot and you're very consistent.
I do, but like I struggle with I never have the mindset of like someone has, you know, 1 second to decide if they're going to watch this or not. I feel like, and I want to talk to you about this because it's going to lead me to my next question. I feel like I have built like a community because I overshare and I like share so much detail about my life to the point where I think I need to, you know, peel it back sometimes. And that's something that I'm working through in therapy.
And we'll talk about therapy because we love therapy.
We love therapy. Yeah. Like I'm so excited to give all my money to therapy.
Yeah.
And I feel like you have like this kind of like unique sector of like the internet where you've been able to amass this following, and people feel like so connected to you and come to you for things and recommendations and advice, but without like airing every detail and like dirty laundry about your life to the internet, which is, by the way, I don't know if that was intentional, but I think it's like an amazing like unique thing that has kind of happened.
Yeah, I think it can be viewed as a positive or a negative.
Yeah.
Like when I did have management, they viewed it as a negative, and they were like, we need you to show more. We need you to talk about more. We need you to, like, I'll give an example. I really only film from like shoulder up, and it's not for any reason but the fact that like I'm talking about makeup and skincare, so I want you like in close,
my face.
In my face. And one of the searches that I see the most about me is Rachel Stahlke body, which I find so interesting. It's not a bad thing. People are curious, but it's because I'm not fully on camera.
I've never noticed the time.
That. Yeah. So like that's something that's really interesting. It's not like a choice I made online.
Intentionally. Yeah.
It's how I am in real life. Like, you're either fully in with me, and there are only a small handful of people that are fully in, or I have a lot of acquaintances, and that's kind of how I view TikTok. Like, these are my acquaintances. We talk about the good things. We keep it surface. I do let them in every now and again because I'm an open book. But like, it's okay to have a little bit of space between you and people. So like, it very much so translates
into how you are in your real life. Yeah. It, I think, is a beautiful thing that, again, I don't think you like did super intentionally, that you like kind of separated like the nitty gritty details of your personal life and your presence online. But I think it's something that a lot of us can learn from, like me in particular, like as I'm trying to navigate like sharing a little less. So I think what you've done is very smart, even though it wasn't necessarily intentional.
First of all, I will blow the whole lid off of it. Like, I don't care if anyone sees behind the curtain.
Yeah.
It's more so that like, I mean, and you feel this way too about Andy, but it's like, James is super private. He doesn't want to be on camera, right? Like, I have a kid and I show Sloan every now and then, but like, she's not my content.
She's not the center.
So yeah, I think like maybe at some point in my life, like if I decide to go full throttle on this, like then I do have to kind of like, you know, show everything. But for now, there's like a small part of my life that I like to keep to myself.
Yeah, I think,
but I could learn a lot from you.
I think protecting your bubble is like the most important. Like, protecting your real life is like the most important thing. There's definitely like ways to share that are, you know, you can still protect your bubble, but I think it's a beautiful thing that you've done. But so I want to start by saying, like, who is Rachel Stahlke? Because I know a good amount about you, but like, I would love to know just like how you grew up. Like, how did we get here? Like, who are you behind the scenes? Like, maybe things that people don't necessarily know, like at first glance on your TikTok.
Yeah. Well, first I want to know like how deep or how far back I feel like you and I have both lived 1,000 lives.
1,000.
So I'll start with like after college, maybe.
Okay.
Because before college, I mean, I'll give like a really brief 2-second spiel. I was born in New Jersey, but then I moved to Switzerland where I went to international school. And I think that was really important during my formative years because I was able to be exposed to people of all walks of life. So I feel like I've always been someone who is just like friends with whoever, whatever, like that's just kind of been my vibe. Coming back to New Jersey and going to school in Bergen County, very much so not the vibe. Like, you know, it's no knock to anyone there, but they're all like, you know, white, Irish Catholic.
Yeah,
like
100%.
So I'm half Jewish, I'm half Asian. Like, I always kind of struggled with like, do I identify with like the Korean side of me or do I identify more with the white side of me? Like, I never really could figure it out. And I think now I've realized like I don't have to figure it out. I can just kind of like sway in and out of both and like just embrace everything about both cultures. But I went to school for equestrian. Actually, I rode D1 for my first year.
This is what I wanted. This is such a fun.
I was like, let me not start in college. And I'm like, so when I was 3 years old.
No, this is such a fun fact. Like the Switzerland piece, like I didn't know about that before you had, I think you shared it a while ago on TikTok. Yeah. But like the equestrian piece, like I'm a go off horse girl.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I love horses. It was something that like my mom introduced me to. When we were in Switzerland, she like didn't want to do the daycare thing. So while she was taking her riding lessons, she just brought me and I just like grew up at the barn, which I really think like all, you know, take away the like flashy side of the equestrian world, which is I feel like what a lot of people see. I was just like in the dirt. Like staying out of trouble. Like when everyone else was out drinking in high school, like listen, I had my fair share of things, but like I had to be up in the morning. Like I had to be in Washington at 3 in the morning to like get a schooling round in before my show.
Which makes sense because there would be parties that I feel like I would have seen you at, but like I felt like you know, looking back now, I'm like, oh, like you kind of prioritized your shit.
I was very serious. And to be fair to like myself and like to be honest, it wasn't something that like I chose in terms of like how serious I wanted to be. I think like my mom was very strict with me, which was amazing. And I adore my mom. And in hindsight, I'm so thankful because I have a crazy work ethic and like I'm super determined about a lot of things. But yeah, so I rode my whole life competitively, went to school for it, did it for a year, realized like it was taking the joy out of it for me. And I was like, if this is something that I actually love and want to continue doing my whole life, I have to stop now and just do it for fun. Because if I continue on this path, like I'm never going to be able to look at a horse again. So I left and I was like, let me pivot. Like I've never partied and I wanted to go to Miami.
Yeah.
And I just did my thing there. And when I graduated, I got a job at Condé Nast, worked in marketing there. And I've done like since then, like I feel like so many things that now in hindsight really like helped shape how I approach content, but it was like digital marketing, influencer marketing, like all in kind of the content space. Yeah, and now we're here, and I'm married with a beautiful child, and that's me.
I can't believe you have a child. Like, I'll never be over it, ever.
She's the best.
She's perfect.
Yeah, she's perfect.
Truly, you made a really good human.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to also backtrack because you worked in influencer marketing, and I want to know in what ways that influenced the way that you see your content and the content that you consume. Like, how does that, like, that part of your brain, like, must be, like, heavily influenced by that experience that you had?
Yeah, for sure. I think the first thing that I view as a major, like, leg up that I had is I know what I deserve. So when it comes to negotiations and contracts, like, I can be pretty tough. And it's not because I think I'm better, or I think I just know what I was paying someone who had the same amount of followers. And you know what I mean?
You've seen the back end of, like, the crazy numbers.
I have seen the back end. And I think when you're getting into it, and if you're new to this world, you say yes to a lot of things. And I am privileged, and I'll acknowledge that I do have a full-time job, so I can say no to a lot of things because I don't rely on it for a check.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I will, but today I don't. So I think having that sort of like foresight into like, oh, actually, like, the brand has more wiggle room, like I can push them a little bit more on this, or that piece has been a huge advantage for me. Yeah, the other piece is that I used to write creative briefs for influencers. So like, let's say a brand would come to me and be like, hey, we're launching this cleanser or whatever. Here are the 3 like properties that we really want to focus on. Here's when we're launching. Here's who we want to launch it to. And I would basically come to them with a full creative brief, timing, launch strategy, like all of the above. So now I'm on the other side of it. And I think that what's cool is like I can nail it on the first try. I don't do many films or edits because I like know exactly what the brand's looking for. But yeah, it's been cool. I think having that has been a big advantage.
Yeah, because you know how it all works. Like, I remember when I got my first brief, and then they like sent like, okay, like here, like send the concept here. I was like, what's a concept? Like, what do you mean by that exactly? You know?
Yeah.
And there's so much like behind the scenes that when you just get like thrusted into it and you get presented with an opportunity, and also like you said, in the beginning, you say yes to a lot of things, and you say yes to really low numbers, which is why I have a manager, because like I could never ask for the things that she asked for on my behalf. Like I don't have the experience to justify it. Like I don't know what the norm is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like knowing your background and that you've like been in the behind the scenes probably it makes things a lot faster for you. Like I take like 35 minutes of footage every time I do a brand deal, and then I literally go through hell and back to edit it, and I probably need to.
But all of your brand deals are like so catchy and engaging. So whatever you're doing, you just keep doing.
But I want to throw up every time I do it, and I need to probably like look at briefs a lot more, maybe run them through ChatGPT. But I want to talk about your entry to TikTok. Like, first of all, what made you want to get started on TikTok?
So I think a few things happened, like kind of in a really nice way, right? Like James and I got married, and then we actually sold our apartment right after we got married. It actually sold on our honeymoon. So I was like, panic. We're going to come back and have to move out of New York. We didn't know where we were going to move. So I was like, my parents have this townhouse. Let's move into the basement. So we moved into the basement. 3 months after our wedding, I got pregnant. And I am living in my parents' basement in the middle of suburbia, pregnant, and I felt so far off from myself. Like I was like, I don't know who I am anymore. And James was working super late hours. He was on a different desk than he's on now. And so I was like alone for a lot of the day with this like little thing that was cooking inside of me. I remember making a conscious like effort, being like, I need to do something every single day that like she will be proud of, so that I don't just view this time as like, oh, woe is me, like living in the basement, you know? So I just started sending videos to my friends first. Cause like I would get texts and be like, I'm going to Sephora, like what do I need? And I'd be like, okay, here's what you need and here's how to apply it. And I would send these videos to my group chat. And then one day my friend was like, why don't you just like put these on TikTok? Like everyone's posting on TikTok. And I'm sure you felt this way. I was like, no, that's so cringe. Like this mean girl from high school is going to send it to this other mean girl, and like I'm going to spiral. It's going to be horrible. And I posted like a few times here and there, like, and one video really took off, and I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. And if not, that's cool too. And I just kept doing it, and it happened very quickly. And I just rode the wave. It was
crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like, I remember like watching a couple of your videos like take off, and then like clicking on your profile, and it was like 75,000 followers. And
I was like, very
quick. Yeah. What the fuck? And I remember sending you a voice note being like, this is sick and like so well deserved, and like just praising you for like the way that you articulate yourself, like the way that you share things. Like, it literally does feel like your friend is FaceTiming you, telling you about something or telling you about a product. Like, that is truly,
that means a lot. Thank you.
And also that is how you talk behind the scenes. Like, that is how you would send me a voice note. You know what I'm saying? So it really does come off that way. And like, it's a very unique thing, like I said, to be able to share content that way without like airing out like every part of yourself. Like, for us to feel that connected to you, like we know you and like a friend is calling us, like that's really fucking cool.
Which is also like, so again, I was talking to my therapist about this. I think it's been a little bit of exposure therapy without it meaning to be.
Yes.
So like, went through some stuff in college with some girls that were really close to me, read some stuff about myself, shouldn't have had to read. And what I think now what I've done is like, in posting on TikTok, all of these like weird, cool things have happened. Forget the brand deals and the friends I've made, like forget all of that. It sounds weird, but it's a big win to me. The fact that I can walk outside, walk the dog, zero makeup on, and feel good about myself because I've posted without makeup on doing skincare videos like on the internet. And like, I used to be super, super insecure, super like aware of like people's perceptions of me. And I think slowly like it kind of ripped that Band-Aid off for me, and I'm reading not so nice comments about myself sometimes, and I'm like, that's kind of true, that's like funny, whatever. And it has been like a little bit of exposure therapy, which is like a weird take on it, but it's been cool.
It's so accurate to the point where it almost hurts. Like, that is such an accurate take. It's not a weird take, it's on the nose. Like, once you start putting yourself out there on the internet, well, I do think it can go one of two ways. Like, for some people, can probably make them like more self-conscious and evoke new insecurities and new things that you didn't even know people were picking up on about you. But it can also swing the other way and make you give absolutely zero fucks because you put yourself out on the internet every day. Like, who the fuck cares if you're going outside without makeup on?
What it's done. Like, and it's
for me too.
Right. Like, and I think it could, as you said, it could go the other direction. So we're very lucky that we have just gone in the zero fucks direction, because it's a cool place, cool area to live in.
Yes. It's also healed some parts of me. Like, in middle school and high school, everyone was like, Kelly Bristida's voice is so fucking annoying. And now people come into my videos and they're like, wait, I love your voice. And I'm like, do you really? Like, you're healing my childhood trauma. So I think it's done a lot for my, not my confidence, because I don't want to like place other people's validation or other people's perception of me as like my value. But it's just done a lot for me in terms of making me like give zero fucks about what other people think about me. And it sounds like it's done the same for you. So I think you like absolutely hit the nail on the head with the exposure therapy take.
Yeah. I give no fucks.
Yeah. It's like, it's a beautiful thing. We're very lucky.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. So I want to talk about 75 Soft.
Oh.
Because that's what started it all, right? Or was it the group chat?
So it was the group chat.
Okay.
But 75 Soft was very quick to follow.
Okay.
It was like very, very quick to follow. I don't want to misquote, but it was like within a few, I would say, weeks. Maybe?
Okay. Because it sounds like the group chat thing was very organic. Like, you already, you sent those videos to your group chat. Someone was like, why don't you just put these on the internet? And you're like, great idea. 75 Soft was a little bit more, I feel like that was like a very vulnerable part of your content and resonated with so many people. That was one of the videos I was looking at that had like 25,000 saves. I was like, what the fuck? So where did 75 Soft come from? And then maybe we can familiarize anyone who like lives under a rock and has never heard of it.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of like contradicting everything we said before, there was no hook, no brief, like internally that I did with that. I think I was just having one of those days. Again, I was in my parents' basement. I was like super nauseous in my first trimester. And I was doing some like self-reflection. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm tired of seeing people being like, if you follow these 5 steps, like, and buy my ebook. And like, you know, I was like, actually, like, I did a lot of work. That was, a lot of it was free. And it kind of changed my life, and it changed the way I looked at myself. And they were very small changes, and it comes from years and years and years of therapy. But yeah, so I just started sharing about like how I kind of lost weight and started being nicer to myself and help keep my anxiety at bay, and they're all like very normal, tangible things. I think that's my biggest thing is like it needs to be tangible, and I'm not going to like drag it out for 100 parts. I'm going to give you like 5 tangible steps in the first one, 4 tangible steps, and you know what I mean, like keep it going. But what's funny is I think I was at a place when I posted that where I was, again, the Band-Aid had been ripped off and I was being more vulnerable online. So I was like, let me just send it and like tell people exactly what happened. I didn't get into like the depths of how bad my anxiety and depression was at the time that I started the healing journey. But yeah, I think it resonated with a lot of people.
Also, like the dynamite like will come more naturally because you're like, I'm like actually helping people, which a lot of the 75 soft, which just for anyone who doesn't know, like 75 hard is like a trend on social media. And I don't know exactly what it is, but it's basically like, it's like a bunch. Yeah, yes. Tell me, Remy.
1 gallon of water every day.
1 gallon of water.
Pages of a nonfiction book.
I didn't know this. Keep going.
2 workouts, 45 minutes each.
I feel like this is Andy.
Okay, 2 workouts, 45 minutes each. One of them has to be outside.
One of them has to be outside. Progress picture every day.
Progress picture every day?
Progress picture every day.
This is diabolical.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just picture in the mirror of you every day, and then whatever diet you set, just keep to it.
Okay, that's so all sorts of fucked up.
This is like 75 fuck up your mental health.
Yeah, 75 die. Yeah. Like, basically. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is really helpful context. Thank you. So without even like you knowing like the details of what 75 hard is, you took the spin of 75 soft, which is basically just like you were sharing tangible tips, and like a lot of them were just mindset shifts, which were the most helpful for me as to how to live a softer life, which then resulted in you like keeping your anxiety at bay and losing weight. So it's just like kind of emulates like the idea that if you're nice to yourself and you're kind to yourself, you don't have to beat yourself into the fucking ground to love yourself and to come out better, whether that's like physically or mentally. And it absolutely took off. And I think that's like what like really got like the following and the momentum going.
Yeah, that I would say like that really, like I woke up and I was like, oh, a lot of people have started kind of like coming along for the journey, which is cool. I think, I don't know if you feel this way though too, like if you get a lot of followers overnight because of a certain video, you feel the need to continue like feeding that beast, which like I definitely did. And I think like I was posting a 75 soft video like every single day for many days.
And you're pregnant.
Yeah, and I was pregnant. And what's interesting though was like I'm someone who, and we talk about this all the time, like if we're having an off day or if I don't feel like I'm living in my truth, like it's very hard for me to talk about like, here's how I like cured my anxiety when like I'm having a really like big sad day.
When I'm literally fighting for my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like, we can't fake it.
No. So there was a time when I stopped doing it, and it was because my mental health was not going well. So I was like, normal. Why am I going to be giving tips to people right now when I'm like, does anyone have any tips for me?
Right.
You
like
know?
I need advice right now.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. We've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
It's very hard to show up online when you're not like when the world feels like it's crumbling around you. It's hard to like get up and be like, hey, get ready with me. You know what I'm saying? So it's totally understandable. But then like these other like series just came like so naturally after, and like you are one of the few people, like there's like a short list of like 5 creators who like actually influenced me to buy product, like to consume like go spend my money, and you are one of them. And the other thing that I like want to talk about series wise is the holy shit products, because this has influenced me to buy some shit.
Me too.
I want you to explain the Holy Shit product series, because like that was like a whole other viral fucking beast.
Yeah.
And if you can remember, like what are some that like were really, really, really top of mind?
So I'll give the like 2-second elevator pitch. So the Holy Shit product series was like, I got a little fatigued of influencers being like, you need to buy all these things. And I was like, you know who like really has the tea? My comment section. So I took the mic and I was like, you guys go now, like you go. And that was like the whole concept. There was no like hook or cool, whatever. I was like, you just run with it. Like I'll use my mic to
give you the mic.
So I basically just like opened up the floor to the comment section. And I think now we have around like 20,000 comments of people being like, this is my holy shit. But it's anything, which is incredible. It's anything from like Snyder's Buffalo Pretzels to like Fullex carpet cleaner, like if you have a pet, to, and then we'll get into like Korean skincare, but it's all over the fucking board. With zero commissionable links, like we're just sending it.
We're just being honest.
We're just being honest. And I think that's what's so cool about TikTok is like, if you have a platform, like use it for good. This felt really good.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then the roundups were literally just like me being like, okay, so last video I asked you guys, here's what you guys said. A lot of the things I hadn't even tried.
Or heard of.
Yeah. But like I was just preaching the gospel of my comment section.
Yeah.
So yeah, zero to do with me, everything to do with them. Yeah.
Were there any products that like stuck out to you or that you've tried because of the holy shit comments?
I mean, a lot. I'm trying to think. I mean, a bidet. That was like one of the biggest ones, which like I've used in like hotels and stuff, but like
I've never used one.
That's one. I mean, the Fullex carpet cleaner is another one. I have an infant and a dog. Changed my life. These are like such practical things, but like what's it called? Messy Eater's Magic Stain Remover. Another one changed my life. Like
I need
really
that. I stain
practical.
everything.
Yeah, but I'm really big into like not everything has to be like sexy marketing,
No.
like new release packaging. Like sometimes
I want the
just need to
underground
know.
shit.
I need to know the good shit.
I want the black market, like stuff that
Yeah.
no one is talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what we got.
Just good shit only.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm gonna have to try that stain remover stuff because I stain absolutely everything,
Yeah.
and so does Andy.
But I will say too, like again, that series, I take zero credit for it. The only thing I can say is like I continued it, but it was literally my whole comment section.
And
So
that
not
comment,
me, them.
No, that comment section is absolutely gold.
Lit as fuck.
And I know we've talked about you potentially like doing something with the products that are in that comment section. I hope you do that because like there's
My mom and I are working.
there
on it.
is there is gold in there. Wait, let's talk. Let's talk about this. Okay, so you shared that like very vaguely, and we don't have to get into the details, but that you had signed with like a big name agency, like one that like people, you know, die to have in their like bio. You know, people like it's like very like clout vibes, like, oh, I'm with this agency, and that it didn't necessarily like pan out the way that you had hoped, and that now your mom is. Your mom is your manager.
Yeah.
Your mom is Kris Jennering you, and I'm
Yeah.
obsessed with that. Can
Yeah.
you speak to that like experience and like how the fuck you got to your mom being your manager, which is the best thing I've ever heard?
Yeah, so I think like we talked about before, what is unique about me doing this is like I don't need someone to help me redline a contract. I don't need someone to negotiate on my behalf, which is a lot of the value that that agency brought. And she is a wonderful, wonderful person, and they're an amazing agency. I need someone that I can trust to be like in the weeds of my email, like following up with invoices, getting back to people, things that like I don't have the mental capacity to do at the moment while I have a 7-month-old
And a full-time job.
and a full time. Sorry, yes,
Yeah.
and that.
I'll just be reminding everyone.
Right. So,
corporate baddie.
my mom, like, she is the most organized. Oh, I will say this too. She is a fucking Rottweiler, like mean when she wants to be. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like, I trust that she will not take shit from anyone.
I wouldn't fuck with your mom.
No, I wouldn't fuck with my mom either.
Yeah.
And I fucked around and found out for many years. So yeah, and I just feel like it's cool. Like if you, again, I'm you and I are both in a very unique position where like we have this income now coming in that we can afford certain things. And for me, I want to be able to afford putting it back into my family. So like my mom literally funded my whole lifestyle. Like I would like to.
Yeah. Let's give her the cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
How's she doing?
I mean, she has her days. Like there's some days where she's like, I'm golfing. I can't answer. I'm like, Mom.
Are you going to do like a yearly review with your mom?
No. Oh, so I joked and I was like, I'm putting you on a performance plan because she was like,
crying.
I'm on the 18th hole. And I was like, you need to come home.
She
like,
golfs?
Yeah, she golfs a lot with my dad. Yeah. But it's all like, I'm
She's
obviously
so
joking.
chic. Like
she's very chic.
I would like to meet her one day and just like
yeah. She'll read you to filth.
no,
first.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I can, one thing about me is I can take being read to filth, especially if it's by your mom. Like,
No, I know.
I
you
would be
can.
honestly honored.
She is a wonderful, smart, like human. So yeah, that's the long and short of my mom being.
How do you decide what you say yes to? Like partnerships wise?
So, I mean, I'll give you a simple answer. If I haven't used it before, I say no.
Okay.
And
you won't try it?
Nope. I'll try it if I pay for it myself. I'll go buy it. I'll spend some time with it. But I feel like brands put a lot of pressure on you. They're like, we're launching this.
Yeah.
We want you to be part of the launch. And I'm like, well, okay, but you're putting a lot of trust in me that like my audience actually trusts me. And I say that very proudly.
We do.
So like, I don't want to be pushing something that is not great. So yeah, I'll usually say that, or I'll be like, I'll go buy it. Can I circle back in a few months? Like to see if I'm reaching for it. A lot of the partnerships that I've done are brands that I was like organically posting about in the beginning.
It's beautiful to see.
Which is so cool.
What are some of your favorites that like translated from you just organically talking about the product to you actually getting paid to talk about the product? I have some that are top of mind for you, but you can go.
Okay, well, I'd love to hear those. But my all-time like coolest was, so I've been using Westman Atelier like since it launched. Very, very expensive. So I was very happy to now be on the other side of things where I don't have to pay for it. But I went from posting about them to now being on their Sephora, like how to use it video on Sephora's app and
It's
website.
so cool.
Which is, that to me is like a full circle,
Pinch
cool
me.
ass moment. Yeah.
It's
really
so cool. Like
Yeah.
probably never gets old. Like if
Nope.
you're ever having a bad day, you need to just go to the Sephora website and like see yourself on it.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah,
incredible. I was
it
going to
was
say
cool.
Colleen Rothschild.
Oh, that too.
Because
Yeah.
you put me onto that hair mask and
Yeah.
you put me onto the under eye like brightening cream, which is
Fantastic.
chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
And then now we will segue into the Everyday It Girl Guide. And then I want to talk about some like other, because there's so much to discuss. Like on the way here, I'm like, what the fuck? Motherhood, like friendship, mental health,
Yeah.
all of the things. But like, I would be remiss if I didn't cover your content because it's so fun. So let's talk about the Everyday It Girl Guide because this is like a new recent one that
Yeah.
I am obsessed with.
Thank you. Yeah, where do we start? I mean, so I feel like I started posting this because I would see comments of people being like, you're not relatable, you're wearing a tennis necklace. Like, and I'm like, girl, it's from Amazon and it's $34. Like,
It's insane.
so like there are so many things where I was like, okay, maybe they're not, to your point before, maybe they're not seeing me for who I really am. I am a high-low girl, which also, by the way, drives my husband insane because he's like, I worked really hard for your ring and you're out here pushing a $35 Amazon necklace. And I'm like, right. But the girls need it. The girls need it. So I just started realizing that like not every it girl has to be like a Nepo baby or a celebrity. Like I know so many it girls in my life and it doesn't have to be the way they dress. It could be how they view themselves, how they speak and treat other humans, what they do in their career. And for me, I was like, I feel like I could just share some like things that make my day better because I am someone who edits down her life. Like I do not use a million products. I use like 3 that are really fucking good. I have like my go-to brands, or I like discover random things like this Steve Madden suit. Do you know what I mean?
I was just
Like,
about to call it out. We have to
yeah.
talk about this suit at some point. Like this is Steve Madden and
Yeah.
it is everything to me and I'm buying it right away.
Yeah. But little things like that where it's like, it doesn't have to be like, I love Revolve. but It doesn't have to be $1,000. It doesn't have to be the thing that everyone thinks is so trendy. Like
Right.
back to basics.
Like
But,
being an everyday
elevated
it
basics.
girl is more accessible than you'd think, like because it sounds like it would be this big, luxurious, expensive thing. And you like in the nicest way, but like you like look and feel expensive.
Thank
Like
you.
as you would
That's
say,
very nice.
expensive.
Expensive.
So what are some of like your little tips and tricks to being an everyday it girl?
A clean face. Like being light-handed with your makeup. We're talking makeup first.
Yeah.
Skincare, just use good stuff. Don't worry about buying skincare at Sephora. Use medical grade shit. The smellier, the better. The uglier the packaging, the better. I think a big part of being an everyday it girl is someone who like has a really good work ethic. Again, these are not like obvious things, but like to me, it's like something that's within you. Like you're either born this way or you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a really good tote bag that you can shovel your shit in and still look chic. A go-to pair of sneakers that matches everything. Like really simple things. Really, 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 really simple things. Like a really good way to make a latte at home so you don't have to spend $7 everywhere. I have just like little things that I use to elevate my life. And again, I remind people like the hook or the intro to those videos are like, I work 2 jobs. I'm a new mom. Like I don't have a trust fund. I'm the everyday girl. I've just found ways to like elevate my life.
Right. Like you look like you could be a Nepo baby, but like you're literally not. Like you are the everyday it girl, which by the way, I have those sneakers and I work out in them every single day and I would never think to wear them with something like this and you look so cute and I'm going to copy and paste every single thing about this.
Do you want to hear something really sad about these?
Yeah.
I got them a long time ago and then my feet when I was pregnant got so swollen.
This is a real thing, isn't it?
I couldn't even wear them. I like tried shoving my little dogs in there one day, and it wasn't working. So my feet have gone back to normal size, and we can wear them again.
They just shrink. Like that's just how it works. Like
mine did. It's not like a universal thing, but mine went back to normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is actually perfect segue to pregnancy.
Feet? Okay, let's go.
To feet. No, yeah, we're going the feet pics route.
Yeah. Love.
But pregnancy. Okay. Were you expecting to be pregnant as fast as you were?
I'm very careful with how I talk about this.
That's fair.
Because it's a very sensitive topic to many people, and I want to be like empathetic to everyone's journey.
Yeah.
We were very lucky. We thought it was going to take longer than it did. Statistically, the numbers are against us as women. Like you line up 5 women and, half of them will have a hard time getting pregnant.
Yeah.
I thought I might be one of them, like many of us probably think. I wasn't, very luckily. So I got pregnant very quickly. Mentally, was I ready? No. Like I was in my parents' basement. We just got married. I was like in fighting shape. I looked the best I ever had. And then it was like, boom.
You're pregnant.
You're pregnant.
Yeah.
And I think I hear so many times people being like, you'll know when you're ready. Like I wasn't ready. And sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I'm still not ready. Like, I don't think you're ever fully ready. But yeah, she's here and she's fucking amazing.
I can attest. She is fucking amazing.
Yeah, you met her, yeah.
What are like the things that shocked you most positively and or negatively about pregnancy?
So I think I gained a lot of insight. I didn't have a ton of friends who had been pregnant before or who had kids before when I was like single and doing my thing. But I realized how much you need people to check in on you. And in hindsight now, like my friends that have had babies, I'm so on top of them because I'm like, hi, like
wellness check.
Even if you don't answer, which by the way, you were amazing at during my pregnancy, probably because of Morgan, but like
I'm like so like brides and moms.
But
I'm
you
like,
were
are
so
you okay?
thoughtful. You were really, really thoughtful. Like, and I say that to James all the time. I was like, Kelly was so thoughtful, but so I think I've taken that away, like to really check in on people. And I regret not doing that to my other friends that had babies before. I just didn't know. And I think I was like selfish. That was something I was not expecting, I think, to feel as like carefree as I did when I was pregnant.
That makes me happy.
Yeah. It was actually the first time in my life I didn't have anxiety, which was really crazy. For 9 months, I didn't have anxiety, like at all. I never had a panic attack. I was like just chilling. Yeah. And then after I had her, I was like, woof.
Yeah, like hey,
we back.
Like we back better than ever.
Yep.
Wait, that's so amazing to hear. Because like you've shared that you like run a little bit more
anxious.
on the anxious side. And then you got this like kind of like 9 months of like wow.
And I didn't love being pregnant. Let me get very clear about that. Like I was at the end.
I rarely
like I was
meet
waddling
anyone
around
these days who like loves being pregnant.
I'll be
like
so for real. I hate people that are like, I just love the journey. I'm like, fuck off. Like, no, you don't.
I just don't see how the fuck that's possible. Like, obviously I'm like, excited about the idea of like my body building a baby. Like that's incredible. Like you kind of, I would imagine, gain this like newfound perspective on like what your body is capable of, and therefore it translates to a little bit more like confidence in who you are. But like I just don't see myself like loving the vibe of being pregnant.
Yeah, I think you will. Like you'll lean into certain areas of it. You feel very at peace, and you are much more like, I think you and I will talk about this after, but you're very careful about what you project into the world when you're pregnant.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like a subconscious thing, but everything I said, I was like, she's hearing everything. She's feeling everything.
In me.
She's in me. So anytime I would feel myself get like ramped up about like an argument or like something at work, I'd be like, whew, because someone else is literally feeding off of that. So I'm really excited for your experience. I think you're gonna love it.
I feel like you probably had a subconscious like maternal instinct, and also the therapy, like you were able to like kind of recognize and be more mindful, like I can't let myself go down that path.
Yeah.
Because there's someone else that's also going to be affected by it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a crazy thing about being a woman that I love, I actually I'm not a man hater. I don't hate men, but men like could never
sometimes.
Like a few times a week. But I just don't think like they really can understand like what that would be like. And obviously I can't yet either, but like just imagining it is the coolest fucking thing.
Yeah. You're going to be a great mom.
Thank you. You are an amazing mom. Like you have mama bear instincts.
Yeah. Sometimes a little bit to like the more extreme side of it, but like I'd rather that than be lackadaisical. Like I will protect that child at all costs.
Yeah. Yeah. That is fair. And I think a good way to look at it. As a mom, are there any things that are like product wise or like even just things that you might have changed in your everyday life to like either get you set up for the baby or like things you bought for the baby that like are like core pillars of like your everyday It Girl mom guide.
Yeah, I mean, I literally just talked about this because people are like, "What do you need?" I'm like, "Therapy. You literally need therapy. Don't buy the expensive clothes. Go to Old Navy. Go to Gap.
For the babies?
Yes, they outgrow everything so quickly.
Yeah, and throw up on everything.
Yeah, get a thermometer. These are really basic things. Get a
Good,
thermometer.
good.
You're gonna need to check their temperature a lot. And in my case, like I, had a moment with her where I needed that. In terms of like mom stuff, though, like when you're pregnant, Hatch belly oil saved me. I am very susceptible to stretch marks. I didn't get a single stretch mark on my stomach. I started applying it from the second I found out I was pregnant. Like I had zero bump, but I was like lathering my stomach.
Is it that pink bottle that says belly? Okay, my sister has that.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful. That I use that every single day. I'm trying to think of what else. Like things that brought me joy when I was pregnant, a breakfast sandwich. I think I had a breakfast sandwich every single day. But going into my next pregnancy, I will say this too. Like I don't think you have to indulge as much as I did. I gained 60 pounds during my pregnancy, which is a lot on my frame. And going into my next pregnancy, I think I'm just going to be more like, it doesn't have to be like a go all the way type of thing. Like I don't need a breakfast sandwich every single morning, but like it was a delight.
I feel like I'm gonna indulge a lot, so I feel like that's
100%.
fair. Like your first
Well, your
pregnancy,
first
you're
pregnancy,
like,
you do.
You're like, let's go balls to the wall.
No,
It's like we're fucking
literally.
pregnant. We
Like,
gotta feed 2 people.
Wingstop 3 nights a week.
1,000.
We've talked about this.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you have any weird pregnancy cravings?
No, I actually had a lot of aversions. Like I had 0 cravings, and except for one morning I woke up and I was like, James, if you don't get me a hot dog within the next 45 minutes, like I will blow the lid off this thing. But besides that, I just had so many aversions. Like I couldn't smell coffee. The idea of chicken made me want to die. Like certain weird things.
Yeah.
But besides that, yeah.
Like, did water taste like iron? Like a lot
No.
of people like say that.
No,
Or metal.
there were so many like wives' tales that I was like, oh, like this is what I should look out for. This is like for me at least, none of that was typical. Like even my labor was not typical. Like all of that. So just you'll be just trust your body.
Is there anything you brought to the hospital that you're like, that was smart?
Yeah, again, something so random, but like it gets fucking cold in the hospital. I brought like a fuzzy blanket, a really cozy one,
Yep.
one that I could like wrap around myself many times. I brought that and an eye mask because if you're in a shared room, which we were postpartum, the other couple has to have the lights on when they're changing the baby and like living their life.
That's
so you won't be able to
crazy
sleep.
that you're sharing the room with someone during the
Yeah.
most intimate time of your life.
Oh, like this poor woman's husband saw me in diapers like many, many times. I was like, hey.
I hope they're doing well.
I think they are. Yeah,
Like-
they were a very cute couple. So
Yeah. And then you went to Borum postnatal.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, like free plug for Borum, like an amazing fucking concept.
Yeah.
It's like a hotel basically. It's in New York.
Yep.
Where you go and like you have like do you have round the clock care for the baby?
You can. Yeah, it's more for like the mom, which is like they follow a lot of like what people were doing in Asia. And I heard about it because my mom's Korean and she was like, oh, it's like a very big thing that they do in Korea. And I'm shocked that they don't do it here.
It makes so much sense.
It makes so much sense. They do have like if you wanted to give your baby to the nursery, like you could. I had a really hard time with letting go of any of it. So I will say like maybe my second will be different. But for a first time mom, like it was really difficult for me. I had a lot of health anxiety about her. Like if she was even to the side a little bit, like her head was I would like run into it. So I didn't get to fully like relax and enjoy it. I wish I did because it was a privilege to be able to do something like that. But yeah, it was wonderful. I mean, I think that more care should be put on the moms.
Yeah.
Because postpartum is.
I know. And like, that's the other thing I wanted to ask you is like, if someone has a friend who is a first time mom or not a first time mom, maybe they're on their second or third kid, like how can friends like show up and support a new mom? Because like you said, I think a lot of emphasis gets put on how's the baby? How's the baby?
Yeah.
And no one asks like the mom. I mean, people do. I feel like it's becoming more of a conversation. People are becoming more aware of it. But I've found even just observing my sister, like it's all about the baby and like no one's really checking on the mama. And that can be really tough.
Yeah. Well, first I want to say like you, like I said before, you were so good at being like, well, how are you? Like I care about your kid, but how are you?
Morgan has brainwashed me.
Yeah.
In
Well,
the
I
best
really
way.
appreciate that. You know, like more people like you. Yeah. Like if you FaceTime your friend, instead of being like, show me the baby, be like, hi, love you. Like do a
How
little
are
catch
you?
up. But yeah, I think just like keeping also like, I know this sounds like it's not supposed to be an inward thing, but like keeping your expectations at bay too, like, and understanding that like different people are in different stages of their life. It's not all about you. Like that is something that I've really tried to remind myself of, like in all stages of my life, getting engaged, wedding, pregnancy, the whole thing. Like it's not all about you. People have other lives.
Yes. People have lost the plot there.
Yeah. So like just being happy with like who does check in and viewing it as that instead of like looking at the deficit.
Yeah. And looking at people like, wait, you didn't text me that one day. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a crazy world that we live in where like, especially now, like I'm about to turn 30, like everyone is at such different stages of their life. Like I have friends who are single. I have friends who are like just moving in with their boyfriends, friends who are getting engaged, friends who are like thinking about getting pregnant. It's just like crazy. And I feel like there is this massive expectation that like everyone, especially with social media, and there's so little nuance on social media, but I just feel like there's always like this narrative. It's like if your friends aren't liking your Instagram posts, like they hate you. If your friends like, you know, didn't do this, like they're like not a good friend, you should cut them out of your life. Like they're the problem, like they're toxic. And it's like we've lost this nuance that like people are really just doing their best.
Yeah.
And it is not all about us, even though like we are the main character of our lives. We're not the main character of everyone else's life. And like I feel like we on social media, like that is like a message that sometimes needs to just be shot out into the universe.
Which, by the way, I love that video that you made about that.
I was just like, I cannot do this anymore.
Yeah.
Where there's these videos of girls being like, your friends are your biggest haters if they are not liking and sharing and commenting on all of your Instagram posts. I'm like, bitch, my friends are like working their asses off and like doing their best, like fighting for their life in this world that we live in.
Yeah.
Like,
which also I think there's this big thing now that social is like, there's so much emphasis on social. Like a lot of your friends, I'm sure, just like text you or call you on the side and are like, hey, I'm really proud of you. And that means 10 times more than an Instagram story.
1000%. Or like they do little things. Will be like, I listened to your podcast. And I'm like, oh my God, you listened to it? Like you already knew. Like you don't need to listen. So yeah, there's so many other ways to support your friends than like just what can oftentimes be like performative, like social media, you know, engagement.
100%.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, what are some things that you do to take care of your mental health as a new mom?
Well, if I'm being totally honest, like right now I'm not going through the best time mentally. Like I'm back in therapy. Like we've talked about this. I'm back in therapy. I'm really trying to like regain control of my thoughts. I think something I really struggle with is like when I feel out of control of a situation, I just spiral and my brain tends to go to like the worst possible case scenario. And we had like a tiny health scare with my daughter. She's perfectly fine now. But that I think just kind of like shook me. And after that, I felt myself like it was like the rug was just pulled and I thought I had everything kind of under control. So I think therapy is a big one.
We love therapy.
Yeah. I think like if this sounds so like it's like a fundamental, but like take a shower, like especially postpartum, like take a shower. Maybe once a week, you know, like apply an eyebrow gel. Like little, it sounds so silly, but like just little things where you're like, I'm doing something for me. For me in the beginning, it was going on a 15-minute walk by myself and just listening to one of my favorite, you know, podcasts or a song or anything, like just getting out of the house.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you like some like crazy luxurious thing, but like the reality is like we're all just trying to survive as new moms, and like one thing a day that reminds you who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That last part that you said of doing the things that remind you who you are, because I feel like you get so caught up in like the identity because you're adjusting to this massive new role that you have as a mother who cares for like a living thing, which is like honestly the craziest concept of all time.
I know.
And sometimes you have to, I feel, go back and remind yourself like, who am I and who was I before this? Because like, I think that's the thing that like gets to a lot of people when they're becoming a new mom is like, I don't even remember who the fuck I was before this. And I think doing those little things, like they don't have to be these big groundbreaking like tips or tricks. Like it's just like do something that makes you feel like you.
Yeah. I will say though, like, I mean, this is kind of a big thing, but the second I got cleared to get back into physical activity, I went right back to the barn. And I made you and I talk about like investing in things. And I was like, I'm going to half lease a horse. Like that's a big investment, but I want something where once a week, this is something that I used to do that brought me so much joy. And it's like who I am at my core is like a tomboy, like at the barn, just being like with these animals. So the second I got cleared, I was like, I'm going right back to the barn. So every single week I would go. Sometimes Sloan would come. Sometimes she would stay with James, but it was like my thing.
I just had this thought. and take your time answering it because it's like kind of like an abstract question, but what is like you've spent your whole life with horses and horses are like kind of mystical creatures. Like they're really like beautiful and unique creatures. Like what is horses and spending so much time around horses taught you? Like I feel like there's probably like an underlying lesson of spending so much time with horses.
I can tell you really quickly, actually. Responsibility. When I had, like, growing up, I had a pony. But my parents, it came with, like, a long list of things you had to do. Like, I would be at the barn at 5 a.m. mucking out at stall before I went to school. Like, taking care of a living, breathing thing. Like, that's one. I think discipline is another one. Like, as I said, I missed out on a lot of things from my high school, which also kind of made me, I feel like, a little bit of an outcast. Like, I didn't go to the dances and I didn't go to the parties because I was on the road showing. So that was another one. And I think trust, like putting trust into something that at the drop of the hat could turn on you because they are a wild animal, like at the end of the day. And being able to kind of free fall and surrender into the good moments and like being okay when it goes wrong and kind of laughing at it when you fall.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was beautiful. There's so much
That
to
was
be
off the
learned by
dome.
horses. Also, like, I'm like, should I go ride a horse? Like,
Yeah, you should come to the barn with me.
Like, I feel like maybe I should.
Yeah, it's really healing.
I feel like that would be good for me.
Yeah, 100%. It's also like chic as fuck. You can have
No, it's so
we can
chic.
put together
Like,
a
that's
really
like
cute
a whole
outfit.
other thing. Like, I'm glad that we almost like didn't even go into like how fucking chic it is, but like it is such a flex. Like being a horse girl is like so hot and cool.
It used to be, by the way, like not cool. People used to be like, "Oh, she's a horse girl." Like,
But
you think
now
of
it's
someone
really
who's like a
cool
little
and you're
long in the
laughing.
tooth and has like frizzy hair. But like, it's chic now.
But like most things,
Gotcha.
like when you're younger, like the things that like aren't cool, like you eventually like are cool for them,
Yeah.
and that's just like the circle of
That's
life. I'm so happy that I got to have you on. Like this was honestly like I didn't even have to look at my notes. Like I predicted, like it was the best. But this is a Very Nice Day podcast, and I try to ask guests when I can remember, which is very rarely. What is one thing that like makes your day a very nice day?
I feel like I could go a lot of ways with this. I'm like a big quality time girl. Like spending the mornings with James, Bunny, which also, by the way, like you have Sunny and I have Bunny, which is
Sunny
funny
and
'cause
Bunny.
Bunny's like a miniature version
Of
of
Sunny.
Sunny. He's an old man now. But spending like a slow morning with my daughter, my husband, my dog, and like I love a family walk. James makes fun of me. I love a family walk. I love getting a matcha and just shooting the shit and going around town. Yeah, and like calling my parents. They're not going to be here forever. I'm big into like pick up a phone and call, and I never will ignore someone's call. Like I always answer, even if I have to be like, I'll call you back. So talking to my parents and my brother, who I adore, and my family, and that's all. That was a very wholesome answer.
That
but, like,
was
that's
beautiful.
true.
And the second I get in my fucking Uber, I'm calling my dad.
Yeah,
I
you
love
gotta.
you. You
You
are
gotta.
the
I love
best.
you.
This was so fun. The Everyday It Girl, Rachel Stahlke. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you
I
for
love
having
you.
me. I love you.
Wait, we have to do this.
Why? What is this?
Because we're gonna.
Wait, but maybe my spray tan
Because
will
we're
show
gonna.
on my wrist.
Because we're gonna do the. Or we could do something else.
Oh, is this the still frame?
Yeah, for the
Wait,
thumbnail.
this is the thumbnail. We're doing a heart. No, we're cooler. Than
What should we
that.
do?
Something cooler.
Should we just like pose?
Yeah. Is it still recording?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We stand.
Yay! Wait, that was so fun. I love you.